Hey guys, Jake here with a bit more of a professional setup, if you will. I found my DSLR camera, so hopefully that'll enhance the presentation a bit more. But what I'd like to bring to your attention, again, this is a bit of a different video, where I comment on a quote-unquote hot topic. This has to do with the recent revelations of a site called Channel Awesome, formerly that guy with the glasses. For those of you who don't know, Channel Awesome is a site that normally brings together a bunch of contributors. At the start of its inception in 2008, when it was called That Guy with the Glasses, it had about a growing number of contributors. At its peak, it had about 50, with Doug Walker at the forefront. Doug is the nostalgia critic, and now it's next to nothing in terms of presence or indeed prominence. But what was recently revealed was the sexual allegations of in regards to one of their contributors, Justin Carmical, better known as JewWario. And to say I was shocked is a complete understatement. I had to prepare this camera, going through 3 almost dead batteries to make this presentation possible. But yeah. What has recently come to light is he's not the hero that everyone purported him to be. He's a complete scumbag because of what he did, what is revealed that he did. And, at first, he had this reputation to be one of the nicest guys on the internet. And it seemed to be true. I mean, he had this series called You Can Play This, which teaches its viewers that you can play certain games despite their being in Japanese. It's sort of like a walkthrough series, and he seemed to be very knowledgeable, and he had that experience. He'd been importing these games since about 1989. And then, what seemed to be a good series that had a decent following, and, he was very approachable online, and, he talked with his fans regularly and stuff. But then on January 23rd, 2014, he committed suicide, and that brought about a lot of speculation. At first, it was sort of noted that he suffered from depression. Now, I've suffered from anxiety as a child and depression as a young adult, but haven't gotten as far as medication. He took medication. In particular, he took Wellbutrin. And one of the avenues that I took to get a better perspective on what he was dealing with was, in addition to his videos with his video game tutorial content, he also had streams that he hosted on Ustream and Twitch. And it was brought to my attention that he had used the medication Wellbutrin to treat his depression. And according to one of them, he could no longer afford Wellbutrin because he didn't have insurance. So that was the depression route, Also, in regards to you know, why he committed suicide. Well, there was the depression, and then there was the money front. Money was tight, you know. He'd get laid off from job to job. One of the more prominent jobs he had was in 2008. Shortly after joining that guy with the glasses, his job as a legal editor moved to India. So, you know, that was hard for him. He had a job at Gamers Haven. That fell through because the boss cut his hours, and then he had a job at Xerox. He was barely making minimum wage, and that hurt his pride in more ways than one. So, you know, that could have been it. He had a series called The Famicom Writer, which is a combination of Famicom and the Tokusatsu series Kamen Rider, and that didn't get off the ground. A lot of people bailed out last minute. No one knows what he did with the $10,000 that he accumulated from the Indiegogo. So, yeah, all that was set in place, at least on the surface, and as far as the details of his suicide, according to his wife, she was on the opposite side of the bathroom door trying to talk him out of it, and he shot himself. He ended up shooting himself. So what has recently come to light is at the gaming convention MagFest, he was totally drunk at the arcade section, one of the arcade sections, and there was this girl that was also really drunk. Apparently he followed her to her room, and I'm not going to get into all the dirty details. You can find out about that for yourself, or maybe you already know, but long story short, he took advantage of a girl while she was passed out. And, you know, anyone knows that is totally what no one was expecting. And I kind of came to the conclusion the reason why he committed suicide was because he was being unfaithful to his wife. He was married, and then there's this drunk girl at MagFest that he thought he can get lucky with. I mean, for some added perspective on that, in his streams, there were times where he would have a tendency to flirt with girls, female users on the stream. I'm not going to mention any names, but you know, some of these girls would get on audio chat with him and flirt back with him in a playful way. They didn't mean to really, like, egg him on and, like, test his boundaries. And, you know, it seemed like he was respectful. He would, like, kind of back off in like, a very humorous way. And, you know, for the most part, I would just brush that off. But I didn't think that what's revealed to us now, like that he would overstep his boundaries. But, you know, just watching him like act on those streams, I think we all have this kind of gut feeling that, you know, eventually he'd kind of step out of that playfulness and, you know, actually act upon his desires, which I thought he had one. You know, once you're married, you know, unless you have a wife that's like super cool with your actions, you know, it's best not to, you know, cross the line and disrespect her. And, you know, it makes me wonder what his wife Jen is going through now. But, I mean, he said some very interesting and kind of, I guess, like mind-blowing stuff in a very bad way. I mean, there was this specific stream where he was showed the Friday video. And, Friday by Rebecca Black. And one of his almost immediate comments was how the girls in the video don't look 13. And he's like, I thought they were at least 16, which is legal in England. I mean, come on, like, scumbag. I know you're a grown man and you like your younger girls, but you go toward underage territory and it's like, oh man, like, who are you kidding? So, and there was another one, like, where he was talking about this English actress from the show, and he was like, oh, once she grows up, I bet she'll be a hottie. Like, he had this, like, thing where he would boast about being a pervert. I mean, he liked hentai, and he had this collection of strip mahjong games and strip Othello and Go games, but man, I didn't know he would sink that low. Like, talking about 16 being legal when he's like, what, 41, 40 at the time? Come on, man. Anyway, another thing that really, kind of solidified the whole thing was the video of his funeral that someone posted, and it was at the latter part of the video where more people would give anecdotes of how, or when they first met Justin. And two people in particular, one of them was a girl that Justin had met way back, and the other was his wife. And in both cases, they were 17 and he was 25. Now, it's no fault of their own, that was when they met. But I had no idea what they considered them first before they considered him boyfriend or eventually husband material. But the girl that Justin knew way back said, Jen got lucky. Well, not so much, as we'd soon learn. I mean, I guess he was a good husband, he would take care of her as like the protector. He wasn't the breadwinner, but he didn't want children. And there he goes, like going behind her back, flirting with other girls. Like, what kind of husband does that? He's just gonna brush it off. And I feel bad. I feel bad for Jen, and I feel bad for Justin having done that. I don't know if it was calculated or he did all this stuff out of indifference. Like, he wasn't even sure of, like, his own power. He was just very ignorant. He would just beat around the bush, handling his own depression, and, like, really convince his fans that, he was okay when he was just really struggling. So it was just a really bad situation. And in a lot of ways, this is his second funeral. So it's way too bad that this stuff happened. And it feels so weird to watch a video of his again, whether it's, one of his You Can Play This videos or, one of his streams. But I don't know, like, it's not that I'm like, screw this guy, erase all of his content from existence. I just feel like really numb. I mean, there's a lot of people who have had these scandalous happenings to them, and they're still appreciated for their work, and that should still be held up. Forget the guy, scumbag guy, but his work should still be available for people to view. I mean, now that he's dead, you can remember him any way you want to. Like, no one's forcing you to, just keep him in the light that's revealed now. Anyway, before this video gets too rambly, I just want to, end it on a note of saying that I hope the victims involved in this whole debacle that were victims of Justin's actions. I hope they're all okay, and I hope they've found closure and can be at peace with everyone in their lives, and I hope that they're all doing well. I hope that everyone who's made videos on this subject is also well, and I guess as always, thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.